Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Power Network. I'm Amy. Shannon's with me. Today is Highly Strange Days, and one of my favorite paranormal series is Spooky Scary Storytime. And in honor of that format, Shannon and I are sharing our scariest spooky scary stories. And some we even have some submitted by you, our audience. So let's sit back and scare our pants off each other as we drift into some highly strange days tonight. I'm rolling the intro while the algorithm brings in the rest of the power crew. Shout out to our replay crew. Love you, babies.
Welcome to Highly Strange Days. I'm Amy.
And I'm Shannon.
My neighbor Jennifer sits all alone. She dreams of flying up to the moon, and soon, and she thinks it's the perfect night for dreaming and make believing.
Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone had a great day today and is ready to get their spooky, scary story time on. Has anyone seen this around? Seems to have taken the internet by storm. I've seen her over on TikTok. She's on Spotify, Facebook. She's just everywhere. And Shannon said to me, we should do a spooky, scary time story of our own. And I remembered that one of our audience members had even sent in some spooky, scary stories. So I thought, what a great idea. So, guess what, guys? I have Shannon here with me to do this. Hi, Shannon.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good,
Hold on a
thank
second.
you.
Let me get you
Um,
on here.
it
Let
sounds
me.
like we have an echo again.
Oh, no.
Okay, let me unplug these earbuds.
I don't know because I've got
Okay,
an.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't have an echo on my end. Am I echoing?
No.
Hold on. I got a cough, though. Hold on. Okay, so was it just for the moment an echo?
Okay, it doesn't sound like I'm echoing. I'm just delayed.
You're delayed.
Yes, I think so.
Well, I've got a storm going on
Oh,
here.
dear.
So I think maybe that's what's happening.
Oh, probably.
That's why I was like, I was a little worried, but then, nothing was flashing or anything. And so I thought we would be fine. That's why I suggested we go a little early, but then
Oh,
you weren't ready and, it's still storming, so it doesn't matter. But is it going to be disruptive for you or
I just need to remember to speak a lot quicker.
let me see. My mic is low, they're saying. Um, is that better?
I can hear you, but
I
I'm
don't.
still delayed.
Oh,
But you sound good.
okay. Well, I don't know. Let's try it, and if it's too, because I have had it where there's a delay. Where is it where you're talking and you can hear your voice coming back to you, or is it where you're talking and you don't know where when I stop?
I can hear you when you stop, but my voice sounds later than when I'm actually talking.
So it's echoing back to you, your voice.
Yes.
Do you have anything open? Because when I have other things open, that's usually when I hear the echoing voice back to me.
Hmm. Let me see. Okay. I got rid of everything. Let me leave and come back.
Okay. Oh, and Carolina, you said you can hear her echo. Drats. I don't know. I think it might be because of the storm that's happening. It just blew in, and um, I can. It's thundering and lightning, and it's a good old fashioned thunderstorm for this spooky, scary time story. That if Shannon can't do it, I can go through them with you guys. So um, she wasn't echoing at first, and then it just started. Mm, mm. Okay, Shannon, how's it hanging over there for you?
I hope it's good. Oh, there's still a delay, but it's not as long of a delay.
They are saying they're hearing your echo.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Crap.
I don't know what it is either because I thought it was
Mm-mm.
me, and so I got the new mic, and I don't. Maybe it's just the storm blowing through.
It could be. I moved to Hillsdale, and we don't have very good internet in Hillsdale. And quite often, when the people in my house are all on the internet, it lags.
Well, maybe we will have to look at a time when people are not on the internet in your house to switch the show to and try it, see if that helps.
Yeah, that might be good.
Well, I have your stuff submitted and I have my stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the show because I've got it all ready to go.
Okay, sure.
And yeah,
All right.
sorry.
Well, I'm sad. That's okay. I
I
like the new
know.
pictures.
I know. It was gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, but next week we'll get it figured out.
Okay, sounds good, Aim.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, sorry about that, you guys, but we do have some good spooky, scary time stories for you. I chose Shannon chose about five, and I chose about five. And these were just kind of stories around the internet that were super scary to me. And obviously scary to Shannon. But I want to note too that in doing these usually paranormal, scary, spooky stuff scares me, right? But with all this stuff that's happening in the world with the Epstein files and like them literally actually eating babies, this stuff just doesn't like hit like it normally does. It's not as scary as real life, which like blows my mind, and I think that's important to say. But shifting into spooky scary story time, I have been really getting into the my roots, and my family comes uh, from Michigan, but they did a mass migration from Kentucky to Michigan, and before that, I think they had came from Scotland. So I really have been getting into the Appalachian Mountains, and so I thought we would start out with a few Appalachian woods super scary stories. But let me get my screen all situated. I'm a little thrown, so let me also get myself a little centered. Here we go. Hold on a second. No. I guess you can't show what I'm trying to show you. I was going to just take us over to Spotify and show you the the scary. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I was gonna I had Spotify up and ready to show you that this is where I had first seen her, over on Spotify on the Spooky Scary Storytime. But I know the minute I show you a photo of her, if you've seen her, you'll know who I'm talking about. She speaks really fast, and here is an example of one of her Spooky Scary's story times. Ugh. Hold on, my computer is going really slow. Hold on one second.
She said a few years ago she was dating this man who was super close to his cousin, who was just a genius. He was incredibly intelligent. He was a little bit awkward socially, but had an insane IQ, was always testing off the charts. And after he graduated from college, he applied for a job with the government. The interview process took...
Oh, shoot, my browser. It says my browser stopped sharing. Hold on a second. Wow. I hope this isn't going to be the flavor of the day, of the night. Seems like it is. Okay, so this is the lady from the Spooky Scary Time stories. This is one of her stories.
I knew someone who worked a high security clearance government alphabet agency job, and it destroyed them biologically. This story came from someone we'll call Destiny, and she said a few years ago she was dating this man, and he was super close with his cousin, who was just a genius. He was incredibly intelligent. He was a little bit awkward socially, but had an insane IQ, was always testing off the charts, and after he graduated from college, he applied for a job with the government. The interview process took over a year. There were countless interviews, meetings, travel, testing, and he was never able to share with his family exactly what he was testing for, or even which agency he was going to be working with. He couldn't even tell them what the interview process was like besides generalities, like, oh, I took a test today. But he was awarded the job, but all they really knew about it was that he was given the highest security clearance available for digital technology, and he was relocated immediately. Prior to accepting this job, this guy had lived with his family. He was very healthy. He worked out all the time, and then he moved across the country and was living completely alone. Even though Destiny's boyfriend was very close with this cousin, he couldn't really talk to him, but they just kind of heard through the grapevine from his mother, like, oh, he bought a new house. Oh, he bought a really nice car. He's doing so well. And when they did talk to him, all he would say was that he worked with computers. They knew he was making a lot of money. He didn't come home for the entirety of 18 months. But after 18 months, he tells the family coming back. It was all very sudden, and he moves back home. And when they see him, they are shocked because he is not at all like the person they remember. His new expensive home that he had just purchased and drove his very expensive car back across the country to stay with his parents again. And when he got back, he was very sick. They almost didn't recognize him. She said that he had doubled in weight, but it was like water weight. It was almost kind of gruesome. Limbs were puffed up and swollen. His skin was like elastic. He couldn't even walk. Long drive combined with the water weight also apparently did something to his feet. She maybe remembers them talking about like the blood flow was restricted or the blood had pooled in his feet, something like that. But over the next few weeks after getting home, it got worse. He gained more water weight despite eating a healthy diet, and his feet turned black. He was admitted to the hospital, and he was diagnosed with stage 5 kidney failure. They were all in complete shock as to how this had happened. He had never been sick. There was no history of this in his family. He had lived a healthy life up until this point. In the hospital, his feet got worse. It was gangrene and his skin was dying. So they realized that he was going to lose both of his feet, possibly the lower half of both of his legs. For this, he received zero support from the government. And when his family asked what had happened when he was out of state, he said he couldn't talk about it, that he could face legal repercussions. That he was sworn to secrecy. And while trying to treat his gangrene, they tried a myriad of different treatments, but nothing helped. So he decided he was going to go with an experimental treatment. pretty gruesome, so you can skip over to this part if you don't like gore. But she said that the hospital grew their own maggots, and they used them in a prescribed way in which the maggots would eat the gangrene basically all around the living flesh in order to try to save what was underneath. Had these maggot treatments daily, and it actually did work for the most part. They were able to save parts of his feet, even though he'll never be able to walk again. Destiny says that her relationship with that man ended, so she doesn't really know what happened to the cousin, but the last that she knew, he was on dialysis for his kidney failure. That I don't think he's alive anymore, but my relationship ended badly, so I never wanted to reach out to find out. But I have some suspicions about what happened. He was obviously working with this alphabet agency, and he had top secret clearance. She said, I always wondered if maybe he found something or learned something or maybe refused to do something, and they made it very easy for him to just go away.
So this is an example of some of her spooky, scary time stories. And we're going to start off with one of my picks, which is from the Appalachian Mountains. Like I said, I have been really getting into ancestry, and I know my family comes from Kentucky, and so I'm fascinated by these mountains. Plus, I'm an earthy kind of girl, and I like to go out camping and being in nature. So this kind of stuff is scary and fascinating.
I got an Appalachian story.
Everything that we watch, I will put down in the YouTube show notes. Today, we're coming to you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So be sure to show us love on the platform that you're viewing us on.
In my email, and that might be one of the craziest Appalachian stories I have ever heard. Tonight's submitter did tell me I could use her real name, and her real name is Stacy, and she will be tagged in the description. So Stacy goes on this hike. Nothing crazy. She had been on this hike before during the day, but she's on this hike and suddenly she loses track of time. Boom, it's pitch black outside, and she looks down at her phone, and her phone is only at 3% battery and there's no signal. So she figures that she'll just go straight until she ends up hitting a road. Big mistake, because she didn't end up hitting a road. She ended up going deeper into the woods.
Now, I feel like I've heard this story before, but she said that she can use her real name on this, so I feel like maybe this is where this story originated from. Tell me if you've heard this before, but it's really creepy.
Something felt off, like the trees weren't right, like they had been growing in pain, were her exact words. She kept hearing these sounds, not animals, not wind, like something was whispering, and she heard this metal clicking sound. Then she starts hearing what sounds like wind chimes, but not regular wind chimes. It sounds like they're made out of bone, and they're off tune. At this point, she's like, I don't understand where the sound is coming from, but I need to get out of here. So she continues to walk, but then she sees something through the trees. It's this pale light blue light. So she's like, oh great, a campsite, maybe somebody can help me. So she starts walking towards it, and she starts to see people, or what she thinks are people. She starts to realize very quickly that these people don't look right. They're wearing old nightgowns, they're very dirty, and it looks like there's blood on them. Then she gets even closer and she's like, oh my God, their faces are wrapped in gauze and their hands are all red. At this point, she just stops and she observes for a second, because she's like, I have no idea what's going on here. She observes and she realizes that they are operating on something, literally operating on something. There's someone laying on a table made of wood and bone, and she's just staring at this point when suddenly one of those people looks up at her. They look directly at her, and she swears she couldn't see eyes, but she knew that they were staring at her. And then she heard a whisper. At first she doesn't know what it's saying, but then she realizes what it said, and it said, "You're early. We can begin." So she just books it. She didn't care where, she just started running. This absolutely terrified her. And as she's running, this dog appears out of nowhere. It was just standing there in the middle of the path, black as night, glowing eyes, making no sound whatsoever. So she thinks this dog is gonna attack her, so she gets scared again and she starts backing away very slowly, and then she turns around and blinks and she's in a different part of the woods. It's like she teleported. But that dog, it was still behind her, but she didn't hear it move. No panting, no pause, no breath. She started running again because she's like, I have to get out of these freaking woods. She's absolutely terrified at this point. But every time she runs, she stops. She doesn't see anything. And then she hears those wind chimes again. And then she turns and she looks and she sees the dog again. She's not giving up at this point. So she starts running again and she stops again, except for this time she doesn't hear wind chimes. She hears something like, it sounds like someone is blowing through some type of horn, or like she describes it as like she thought someone is blowing through a bone. Like that's what she was picturing in her head. Like a loud horn that sounded like a bone. She says she's not really sure how to describe it or how she knew this. It's something that she pictured in her head, but like she heard it. It was loud and it was clear. So she's just standing there at this point in complete disbelief, and she's terrified out of her mind because she doesn't know how she's going to get out of these woods. And as she's thinking all of these thoughts and hearing this sound through this like horn, she hears a whisper, and it says, You're almost there. Let us open you up. This scared her out of her ever-loving mind. So at this point, she starts praying. And she's actually praying out loud. And she's saying, God, the universe, someone, can you please help me? Like, I don't understand what's going on. I need to get out of here. Suddenly, she's alone again. And it's just her in the dark. But it's very, very dark. Finally, she breaks through the trees and she sees a road. But it's not a road that she recognizes. It's stretched forever in both directions. No signs, just blacktop and trees. So at this point, she's trying to think rationally. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna walk until I see a car or a car passes me. And suddenly a car does pass her, but it doesn't stop, even though she's waving her arms. She screamed too, but they didn't even glance or slow down. Then she hears footsteps behind her again, and then she turns around, but there's nothing there. So she turns back around and she sees this woman, but she's wearing a wedding dress. This woman is just standing on the side of the road, not moving, and she looks very pale, and she said that her eyes looked very sad. She does think it's a little weird that she's wearing a wedding dress and she's on the side of the road, but she's like, it's a person. Hopefully this person can help me and tell me where to go. So she asks her for directions and she's like, hey, am I going in the right way? I'm trying to get out of these woods and to this certain spot. And the lady goes, yes, you're going the right way. And so she thanks her and the lady smiles at her. So Stacy turns around and then Stacy turns back around really quickly to ask her another question, but the woman is gone. I mean, she said that there was no trace of this woman. There wasn't even footprints in the dirt where she was standing. But she turns around and she starts walking in the direction that the woman told her. And eventually she sees lights in the distance of a town. So at this point, she's like, thank God, familiar streets, street lamps, houses. And eventually she does get home, but she still doesn't know what happened out there. And different people have told her that people have gone missing out in those woods. Some were found wandering roads miles away, talking about a woman in white. She also found out that other people had exclaimed that they had seen this black dog in the woods and that they had heard wind chimes in the trees. Everyone that she talked to said that if this ever happens to you again, if you see something, no, you didn't. If you hear something, no, you didn't. Which Stacy says this is nearly impossible for her to do. She was only gone for 2 hours, but it felt like an eternity. Only 2. But she also thinks that whatever was out there knew she was coming. Stacy says that she's never told anybody the story in fear of people not believing her, but that she trusts my community and that she knows that we will believe her. And I do believe her.
Okay, so I think it's really terrifying that there's this woman just standing in the middle of the woods in a wedding dress in white. And after all of that, I would be like running and then I'd see that and I'd be like, oh, this. Okay, universe. What are you doing here? Like just this woman standing there in a white dress, a white wedding dress. And then there's this Appalachian rule that like if you see something, no you didn't. If you hear something, no you didn't. Mind your business, walk away. You know, just that's a real thing. I've heard so many of these Appalachian stories and they all say like, nah, you just didn't hear nothing. You didn't see nothing. Just, you know, keep it moving. Keep it moving. Here's another one about portals that I thought was pretty scary.
The whispers scared me too, but like spooky kisses and haunted hugs.
If you ever find yourself hiking in Appalachia and come across a staircase like this, do not go up it. Someone left this comment right here and I started doing a little more research and what I found is astounding. There have been so many reported sightings of these abandoned staircases in the Appalachia woods. And it's a known rule that you do not go up these stairs. The story I'm about to tell you is chilling. This man had been hiking the Appalachia Trail for a few weeks when he came across this abandoned staircase in the woods. He said it was super out of place and that the stairs actually were like very clean, even though there was like a lot of leaves and stuff that had fallen. The staircase was like immaculate. Intrigue got the best of him, so he decided he would go up and just check it out and see where it led to. But he said as soon as he got to the top, everything just got eerily quiet. He looked around for a little bit at the top of the stairs. It was nothing too interesting, so then he just turned around and went back. But when he got to the bottom of the stairs, the trail was gone. He wandered around trying to find his trail for hours. It was starting to get dark out and he was really nervous that he was going to be stuck out there all night. And that's when he saw this like faint glowing light through the trees. The closer he got towards it, he noticed that it was a fire and it was a couple of other hikers that were camping out for the night. He was super relieved at first, but then something was off. He said their clothes were super out of date. They were wearing these boots that were like caked with mud. And he said that their backpacks, like instead of the normal hiking gear, like nylon backpacks, they were like these canvas totes. He said he walked up to the group and introduced himself, but they didn't say anything. They just smiled at him. He was really freaked out at this point, and he was like, I'm lost. Can you all point me back to the trail, please? And they all just slowly pointed back in the direction of the staircase. At this point, he is freaking terrified. He turns around and like hightails it out of that campsite. Eventually, he was able to find his way back down to the trail, and this is the really freaky part. Once he gets back down the trail a little ways and finds a place where he feels safe to camp out for the night, as soon as he starts unloading his bag to put up his tent, the sun starts coming up. What he said should have only been about a 2-hour experience ended up being the entire night. This story had me spiraling, y'all. Have any of you all ever had an experience like this or heard of these staircases before? Drop it in the comments and let me know.
This one really interested me because when Shannon and I first started out talking on Highly Strange Daze, we did one of our first episodes was Beware, exploring the terrifying phenomenon of stairways in the woods.
These stairs that are appearing in the woods. What do you think about them?
You know, I didn't really know it was a thing until you mentioned it as a potential topic. So I have researched it a bit, and you know, the thought of them is very terrifying. And you know, if I saw a set of stairs standing independently in the middle of the woods somewhere, I would definitely walk away as fast as I could, not look at them, eyes to the ground. But I don't believe that they are truly paranormal.
Yeah, I wonder if they're more governmental. But what scares me is it seems like, see, I would have just normally, okay, I can't put the baby bird in the back, so you're going to hear stop it and a lot of flat talks. But I would be afraid that my drive to go up the stairs would become stronger because it seems like it increases your want to go up them, and I'd be afraid I'd go up the damn things.
Yes, I think so too. Although I am disabled, and so I don't know that I would be capable of really going up the stairs, at least not very far.
That's
so
a good point. That's because I'm technically supposed to be disabled too, but I forget I'm disabled and I just go. But I still think my drive to want to go up them would be there. This is Parawoman Radio, the Highly Strange Daze podcast. If you could give this live a thumbs up, helps us go out into the algorithm, bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help us out. We're coming to you over on YouTube today. Hi, YouTube. We're over on Facebook. Hi, Facebook. And we're on X. Hi, X. So if you could give us love, however you do on each of those platforms, it's just really appreciated. Here we go.
I think what got me really nervous about this clip that we're about to see is that it supposedly took place in Michigan, which is where I am.
Yeah, that's what scared me too. I'm never going in the woods again, I swear.
Well, yeah, and I think it's highly unlikely. I think what got me really nervous about this clip that we're about to see is that it supposedly took place in Michigan, which is where I am.
Yeah, that's what scared me too.
We safe, drop our stuff off at the lodge. There's like 35 of us. You're allowed to spread out because you guys are on the same trail, but everybody's within 2 miles of each other. There's always park ranger way behind. There's always park ranger way ahead. We're technically with a lot of people, but it's just me and Zen. The lining of trees on the side of the trail is like really, really, really dense. You couldn't see a deer if it was 10 feet in. I look off to the right and there's a gap in the trees and there's like a staircase 100 yards into the forest. It sticks out completely. It's so out of place. It looks like it's plucked out of a mansion. It looks like you were building a Sims house and you chose this staircase, but you just put the staircase there and then you deleted the rest of the house. But it just stops. It doesn't go anywhere. It's only like 10 feet high. That's weird. We look at each other.
Doesn't it not seem like he's being interviewed here?
Yes, he's really good because I totally thought he was telling it from his memory.
Yeah.
Aren't around. Let's go check this out. So we start walking towards it, and the closer we're getting to it, the more eerie that it's feeling. This isn't like your local forest preserve. We are in the middle of the woods. This is like we are on a nature adventure. When you see something so clearly man-made, it's with you. It's weird. Why is that here? This thing's like almost glowing. It almost has like it was almost like I was getting like intrusive thoughts. Everything in my head.
See, it's there where he's saying like it gives you intrusive thoughts and it's glowing. That's why I would fear my mind.
Oh yeah, definitely.
is saying like go up these stairs. But I just run up and I just hop on the first stair. I have my hand on the railing and both my feet on the first stair. This is where it gets weird. The second I got onto it, it almost felt like it had like a little like light vibration to it. I felt it on my feet and on my hand, tingled a little bit. I'm like laughing, like giggling. Oh, this is like really weird. And then I'm inspecting the staircase. It has carpet on the stairs. The railing's white, the carpet's blue, like a royal blue. And there's no debris on it. There's not a leaf. There's not a sprinkle of dirt, but there's not a bug crawling on it. It's not a blade of grass on it. I'm like giggling and kind of just like talking out loud, super weird, like trying to be like giggly about it. But the longer that I'm on it, it starts feeling wrong. It almost starts to feel like a trap. Part of my head is saying keep going to the top. And then before I climb to the top of the stairs, I look back at Sam, and Sam is looking at me like he's horrified. Like he's looking at me like I have like a gash on my face, clearly distressed. And I'm like, huh. And then I look back to the top and I'm like, should I still go to the top, right? Intrusive thought. And he grabs me by the hood and he like yanks me off the stairs really, really hard. And I'm on my back on the floor. He immediately goes up to me. He's like, are you okay? Yeah, dude, why'd you pull me so hard? He's like, no, are you okay? What are you talking about? And this is the part I'm slightly weird and ashamed of. I thought I was on there giggling, and he said I was having like a standing seizure, and I don't remember that. My perspective is laughing, the staircase is vibrating, and I'm looking at this weird, immaculate staircase in the woods, and he says my eyes are rolling back in my head and I'm having a seizure. So he yanks me off because it happened the second I touched it. I feel completely fine. No type of side effect to it whatsoever. He helps me with my feet. He's like, are you okay to walk? Like, do I need to go get help? I'm like, absolutely not.
Let's get out of here, yeah.
We hustle back to the trail. We get on it. Nobody's around. It's all good. We talk about it for a bit, but I have to convince him that I'm fine. And I do. Like, he's like, okay, like that was super, super weird. Let's just keep it going. We have to get this campsite anyway. We just finish up the hike. We get to the campsite. Everybody's there. It's all good. Nobody saw anything. Nobody noticed anything. There's food being made. It's been a long hike. Everybody's tired. We're eating and stuff. As everybody's dispersing, one of the park rangers is looking at me with concern. And I could tell he's looking at me. I'm like, Sam, tell this guy. And then I'm embarrassed, bro. And then I asked Sam, like, dude, did you tell him? No, dude, I didn't tell anybody. Like, it's all good. And I was like, okay, why is this guy looking at me funny? Sam goes to the tent, whatever. Because I go to the bathroom before I go to the tent. He catches me before I go to our tent. And this park ranger just like isolates me. Kind of looks pissed. He just like looks at me in the face, like right in my eyes, and just goes, please do not tell me you touched the stairs. Please do not tell me you touched the stairs. I promise I didn't break anything. I didn't mess with them, because I'm thinking it's some sort of like national landmark. It's not about the stairs. I don't care that you damaged them. Did anything happen to you? Then I think he's concerned about my health. I try to downplay it. I threw like a little bit of a fit, but I'm fine. Because I'm thinking he's like, do I have this kid who's a liability on my campsite? He seems upset that I'm okay. He's like, if something didn't happen to you, something's gonna happen to somebody else.
Never gets boring, except
No.
that's when it kind of got boring, when I was like, I don't know if this is true.
Right. Well, and then he goes on to talk about stories, and he's telling stories, and apparently that's what he does on this.
So there is this, if you're interested in the Beware the Stairway phenomenon, there is a whole live that we did on that. And he talks about going up the stairs, losing time. And it seems to be a common thing that when they talk about the stairs. Moving on, here is another one. Now, I told you I love going camping, but I also dream of having a home out in the country. And, you know, a lot of people use the outdoor cams to watch their animals at night. And here is a scary video that I thought. These are one of the things that seem to scare me. I've been seeing a lot of these in the Spooky Scary Time stories. I think they're called rakes.
W, who shared footage recorded on her home security camera in the middle of the night. In the video, she is recording her screen as the security footage plays back. At first, she mentions she thought there might be coyotes wandering around her property. But as the footage continues, she quickly realizes whatever's outside doesn't look like coyotes at all.
What is that?
It's probably that coyote.
Right there. What the heck?
Is that coyote?
No.
That's not a coyote. That's a
Where's the dog? Oh, you better go now. Where's the dog? There's the dog. Why is she in her freaking pen?
Ooh.
What the? Oh my God. Okay, so it came back. What the hell?
Did you wipe this off the face?
And the dog's just staring.
So why is it no?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know.
Throughout the video, a strange, pale, humanoid-looking figure can be seen moving around the property. It walks unnaturally, lingering in certain areas as if it's exploring its surroundings. The longer you watch, the more unsettling it becomes. At around the 2 and 3 minute marks, the creature suddenly runs off, disappearing into the darkness. It almost feels like it noticed it was being watched, or maybe it was startled by something else entirely. Seeing something like this roaming around your property while you're asleep is enough to make anyone uneasy. Some believe this could be footage of an unknown creature, possibly something cryptid-like, caught briefly on camera.
What do you guys think? Do you think it's a person, or do you think I think there's these things, these governmental things that have been set loose or gotten loose because it's moving so unnaturally.
It's probably that coyote.
Right there. What the heck?
Is that that coyote?
No.
That's not a coyote. That's a person.
Where's the dog? Oh, you better go now. Where's the dog? There's the dog. Why is she in her freaking pen? What the?
And how did it get over there? Do you think there's more than one of them? And the way it's running, it seems like it's running in like
Oh my God.
hyperspeed.
Okay, so
what do you guys think? What do you think that is? I think that's creepy. I think that's definitely creepy. And speaking of creepy, I think when kids get involved in paranormal activity, it's one of the creepiest things there is. And so here is one of a kid getting in on the creep factor.
Along with the strange, eerie activity he claimed was happening inside his home. His channel already had several videos showing weird occurrences around the apartment, but none of them stood out like the one he uploaded in December 2013. On that upload, Mason captured his creepiest moment yet. His young nephew was in the apartment with him on that day, and what happened wasn't the usual doors slamming or shadows in the hallway kind of situation. It was an experience that genuinely made Mason question how safe it was to keep living in that house. Here's what his camera caught.
Do you like my truck? I got it for my birthday. 6. Carson. Are you hungry? Do you live here? What's your name? That's my grandmother's name.
Mason's nephew, Carson, sits there like it's totally normal and starts talking to someone no one could see. He pauses like he's listening, answers back, and reacts like there's a
I thought
real...
it was interesting, though, that he said, "What's your name?" And then he goes, "That's my grandfather's name." Do you think it was possibly his grandfather that was hanging out with him? Next, like I said, I have been knee deep in the Epstein files, and I thought this was a really interesting video that this man put out about the people possibly, if you believe in reincarnation, that none of these people are actually dying. They're just coming back, and they look weirdly like people. Although, I mean, everybody has a doppelganger. I do. I have quite a few of them. Shannon has found a few of mine, and I just am someone who looks like people. So there's that happens in the world too.
All the presidents, and I mean all of them, were still alive.
A week ago, I put out this video, and it got tens of millions of views across all my platforms. And when I said all of them, I meant all of them. And for those of you that didn't see it, I'm gonna catch you up real quick, and then I'm gonna continue to show you all of them. You know who, and Miss Maxwell, and Andrew Jackson, and Mrs. Jackson. Miss Maxwell, Miss Jackson, and like I always say, they bring their wives with them. Robin Williams and his wife, Teddy Roosevelt and his wife, George Washington, Martha Washington, Glenn Close's husband. It doesn't get much more clear than that. President McKinley, Jeff Daniels, President Fillmore, Alec Baldwin. But like I said, this is about all of them. And well, if Teddy was Robin, do you think Franklin Roosevelt is maybe someone of today? Here's Franklin Roosevelt. Nah, you don't recognize him. Well, what if we get a younger picture? How about now? Is he ring any bells? What if I do that? Want to see what their wives look like? Well, here's Franklin's wife, Eleanor, and I couldn't help but think she looked a little bit Hispanic. Ooh, Ryan Gosling's married to. An amazing coincidence. And here's Eleanor when she's a little younger. Same lips. President John Tyler and actor John Cushing. They couldn't look more similar if they were looking in the mirror. Moving on to President Johnson. Does he resemble anyone to you? Well, what if we put him right next to Tommy Lee Jones? You want to see what their wives look like? Tommy's wife, Andrew's wife. And you know what I keep saying, right? They're not human. They're fallen angels, which are referred to as stars in the Book of Enoch. You know what else I also say is that they always tell us the truth. And listen what Walter White, aka Bryan Cranston, had to say in Breaking Bad.
Presidente Grant, very important man.
Presidente Grant, as in Ulysses S. Grant, who Bryan Cranston just happens to share an amazing resemblance to. But that's it, right? Just a resemblance. They couldn't at all be the same entity, fallen angel, who can shapeshift, but their scars and their markings remain the same because they're permanent. Ulysses S. Grant, Bryan Cranston. Special shout out to a few of my amazing subs on the FB platform because
I think it's strange how that last one was right down to a mole. That was very like this stuff is getting a little too weird, and I was feeling actually overwhelmed earlier today from all of this. I don't always like, I feel like this has to happen because the world is, I don't think like we're getting darker because it was always happening. I think we're actually, the light is cracking the darkness, and it can get like really messy before it gets better. But I was feeling a little overwhelmed today, and I saw this. I thought this was a really interesting over on Facebook. This person says, if the news has you spiraling or shutting down, read this. Lawyer here, the method with which the Epstein files are being released is deliberately designed to put you in a psychological trance. This is their strategy. Here's how I know this. In trial practice, when there are exhibits involving violence, children, or extreme harm, we do not simply dump information into the room. We go back and forth extensively about how and when something is shown. The judge guides the process. Experts contextualize it. It is a container equipped to hold this content. Courts understand that when the brain is flooded with horror, your system gets hijacked by the primal brain. You go into hypervigilance, rage, obsession, and collapse. We have a name for this: reptile theory. Reptile theory. Reptile theory is a trial strategy built on the premise if you can bypass the cognitive brain and activate the primitive survival brain, the oldest reptile part of the brain, you can control outcomes without even persuading on facts or law. This strategy is not allowed at trial. This is why trials involving extreme harm rely on structure. The law does not do this to protect perpetrators, but to protect the jury. What is happening now is the opposite. There is a massive document drop with no categorization, containment, or guidance. The onus is placed entirely on the reader to make sense of chaos. There are random redactions that force the brain into constant guesswork. You have to deduce, infer, fill in blanks. This keeps the mind spinning, searching, looping. You may have assumed they are sloppy. They are not. This is a known strategy. The most ruthless corporate defense lawyers fight cases this exact way. Disorganized document drops and endless data with no roadmap, both high volume but also evasive. It's the same time too much information, but also admits the most crucial information. The strategy has two predictable outcomes. Excuse me. One, you become consumed. You deep dive. You push to get more information. You stop sleeping. It takes over your life. Your focus narrows until there's nothing else. Gradually, they frake all of your life force. They keep you locked in an endless energy loop in their sick mind games. You become one of their victims. Two, you disengage completely. You decide it's too much, too confusing, too overwhelming. You walk away. It implodes from your exhaustion. Either way, they win. Same here. We receive events frozen in fragments. There's no arc, only horrifying snapshots, only horrifying snapshots. A nervous system can only hold horror only if sequenced, paced, and contextualized. If it's not, it will oscillate, fixate, or shut down. What you are being fed is exposure to terror without containment. Make no mistake, this is a psychological guerrilla warfare. I wish I could read this without coughing. When the nervous system is overwhelmed, it seeks relief. This looks like outrage, doom scrolling, obsessing, or wanting to throw your phone into the ocean. Time starts to collapse. Days blur together. You check your phone compulsively. You think, I just need to understand this piece, but there is no final piece. There is always another fragment, another horrifying horror dangling just out of frame, and you lose your agency. When the trauma cannot be held by the people who used it and cannot be processed by systems designed to contain it, it looks for somewhere else to go. It looks for nervous systems capable of carrying the terror. Mothers are particularly vulnerable to psychological warfare because of our protective instincts. So your body begins to alchemize what the children could not because they were in a shock state. They were in a shock state. And what these men responsible refuse to metabolize. So you feel it all. You feel it in your jaw, gut, chest. You are weary around your kids. You rage at your partner. You cut out relatives. You feel irritable and you have a headache and you can't sleep. You feel crazy. This is the trance and where they want you. Please know that. Super important. You are not crazy. You are not having a normal biological response to abnormal you are having a normal biological response to abnormal psychological warfare. Oscillating between being completely consumed and enraged and wanting to turn away and burn your phone forever. It's a healthy response. That swing is your nervous system trying to protect itself. The risk is not the osculation. The risk is not noticing it. Noticing is the rupture to the trance. It's how you peel away. The moment you observe the pattern, let me repeat that. The moment you observe the pattern, instead of being inside it, the spell weakens. You're hearing a lot of talk about this. It's patterns. And I know you guys are all entranced in the Nancy Guthrie case, but I think it's a pattern. I want you to look at the patterns in the Nancy Guthrie case. Instead of being inside it, the spell will weaken. When you name the wave, you start asking, what is being done to me and why? Noticing restores agency. Agency to engage or disengage, to step back, take breaks, to only review synthesis instead of fragments. Agency to refuse to become a landfill for unprocessed violence. You can demand accountability without sacrificing yourself. Justice does not require self-destruction. You are allowed to survive this, intact. In fact, that is part of your rebellion. So, I found it very helpful, very useful, a reminder that you can go into the darkness and not become it. Becoming aware of it is really important, and it's really important for people not to go back to sleep. They want us to go back to sleep. Just, lull us back into complacency and comfort and just, they're there, go back to sleep. We'll handle things. Don't go back to sleep. This Modrica is one of my more favorite spooky scary time storytellers, and this was one that I thought was really interesting.
Is a panorama of the electric tower from the 1901 World's Fair in Buffalo. Just look at that roaring waterfall with water being pumped right in from the Niagaras. I'll show you footage of the rest of this World's Fair in another video. But just look at this tower alone. Does this look like it was built in 2 years' time? And then they demolished it 6 months later? I don't know what temporary material you're using, but in the harsh Buffalo winters alone, there's no way you'd build that temporarily and it would survive any inclement weather in Buffalo. And why would anyone waste their time with so much detail just for it to be torn down in 6 months? What a waste. This video alone should dispel the narrative. How are you making a roaring waterfall like that for a temporary structure? And that's just one of the massive waterfalls at this World's Fair. And before I go, here's a few more photos of this electric tower lit up at night. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
If we wanted to be.
And I got to thinking about this and why? How did they build all that? And so I did a quick Google, and it said the iconic structure at the 1901 Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York, was the electric tower, not a traditional water tower. It served as the centerpiece showcasing the Rainbow City powered by Niagara Falls and was adorned with a statue of the goddess of light. It was designed for illumination, not water storage, and was temporary, which seems so strange because it does seem pretty big and grand for just a temporary structure. What do you guys think about this? I hadn't even really heard about this tower. But it took them 2 years to build it, and then they just tore it down. Got any people from New York? Any kind of woo-woo surrounding this? Because I've heard the idea is that, like, with the wars and in World War II, a lot of people were saying that a lot of the war was actually to destroy important energy sources around the world. And when World War II happened, they took the bells down, and the bells were a source of energy. And I believe a lot of this because I think the world is just energy. We're just energy that really never ends. And yeah. And then my final one of the night is this one. I thought this was interesting. This is from a nurse that worked at a hospital, and she's retiring after 10 years in the hospital. And this is what she had to say about that.
So I am lucky enough to say that I'm retiring tomorrow. Tomorrow is my last day of my 10 years of working in a hospital, and I'm going to share with you some things that I really think you guys need to know as somebody who's been doing this a hot minute. My other video got kind of taken down, but I'm going to say it again. Do not put your name on the registry, okay? You can donate, share your life, absolutely, share your organs, but do not put your name on the donor registry. They took down that video, so I'm going to kind of stuff it in here and see if we can keep going and maybe it'll slide. They are trying to kill us with our food. They are. I'm sorry. I've been seeing 20-year-olds who are coming in with cardiac problems. It's not just the food, the energy drinks, the vaping, all of those things, guys. You know that they're testing the bread and the candies to see what kind of poison they're putting in it. And the reason they're putting poison in our food is because we have a for-profit healthcare system. They are trying to make us sick so that we spend our money in healthcare. How do you get cancer? How do you get any of these diseases? Diabetes. It's all on what you put in your body. We have to stop eating processed foods. Please stop vaping. Stop vaping. Cigarettes are, I think, better at this point than vaping. We were seeing people coming in with pneumos because they try and hit that cartridge too hard and they actually pop a lung. You have to quit vaping. That will send you to an early grave. And they don't want us to get older because we're paying into Social Security, right? And they don't want us to hit the age where we actually will take it. What defense do we have at this point in this country? All we're trying to do is just live our lives. Always get a second opinion. I know. Anytime a doctor or anyone diagnoses you with anything, always get a second opinion. They might be the highest, best doctor in the thing. Always get a second, maybe even third opinion. Medical people are humans and they make mistakes. Please protect yourself. I love medicine and I feel very grateful to.
I want you to hear this one more time.
Of my 10 years of working in a hospital, and I'm going to share with you some things that I really think you guys need to know as somebody who's been doing this a hot minute. My other video got kind of taken down, but I'm going to say it again. Do not put your name on the registry, okay? You can donate, share your life, absolutely, share your organs, but do not put your name on the.
She says, do not put your name down on a registry as an organ donor. Don't do it. Now, I have been hearing in some of the spooky scary time stories, people talking about like them trying to take organs from very healthy people, Americans going in for surgery. They find themselves somewhere else, and yeah, so and she's saying do not put your name down as an organ donor. So I think that's important. Just something to put in your little FYI. Maybe don't do that, Cap. So, so Shannon sent me a list of her spooky, scary stories. But what I think I'm going to do, instead of sharing her spooky, scary stories, we had somebody send us some scary stories and I'm going to switch gears and do a little thing where I read to you some spooky, scary stories. Now, let me pop over into chat and see what people are saying. My late brother told me that he always saw the man in the tall black hat and the black stick people when he used to fall asleep. Yeah, that's a common Monsters Among Us is another one of my favorite spooky scary time places that I go to hear stories, and there's a lot of those men in black, men with the brum hat or the man with the cowboy hat. Yeah. I suffer from post-traumatic stress and night terrors, but those are both real. I don't remember what my night terrors are about, but my 5 adult children tell me that I make strange noises when going through them. Terrifying. I don't think I've ever had any night terrors. I have sleptwalked before, though, which is not fun, but I'm glad that I don't have to deal with night terrors, because those are really scary. My grandma used to give us a spoonful of sugar every single time that we got frightened. I don't know how that helped, but I know that we got a bunch of cavities. Hello, Latoya. So good to see you. Yeah, my back has been really, oh gosh. And then I went right into a fibro flare. It's like, you know me. I'm like still in it. That's why I'm doing weird stuff with my words and stuttering and whatever. Whatever, you guys. I get so tired of like the constant up and down of autoimmunes, but right? I'm sure we all do. The ghostly bride is real. Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk about this spooky, scary story that was sent to me. Let me get it up. So these are experiences, not in any specific order. They didn't say I could use their names, so I'm just going to use the names that are in the story and not necessarily, well, let me see. Does it say I can... I saw recently that you asked for fans of your page to submit personal and true paranormal experiences. Well, I've had a few throughout my life and have noticed an uptick over the last few years. Attached is a list of the most that I can remember. Please feel free to read on air if you wish. If you have any questions or want more details, please let me know. Thank you and stay spooky. And I will just say, well, I mean, I'll just say it's Brian that sent it. So thank you, Brian. We will stay spooky, and let's get into your stories. So Brian says, not in any specific order. Sleepwalking a lot as a kid. When I spent the night with the Nolans, they had a doggy gate at the top of the stairs to make sure I never fell down the stairs. Well, that was nice of your neighbors. Or whoever the Nolans were. Have a vague memory of waking up in the front yard one night. Jana and her friend told me one day that they saw a UFO over my house one night. Of course, they were probably just yanking my chain. I remember one time my sister told me we had just moved back from Ohio. We had like spent, it was my first grade year. We had went to Ohio. It was like a flop. We had moved back and we were living in my aunt's basement, and my sister told me that she saw this old person rocking at the edge of my bed in this rocking chair, and it was over for me. It was over. It was not like, I was always trying to get in bed with my mom at night after that. I was just terrified. So I get it. I get having people just wanting to yank your chain. One night as a kid, I was with Dad at school, probably after a rehearsal. I was walking through the school at night. I saw something that looked like an evil Santa. It scared me to death, and I ran all the way back to the auditorium. I was younger than 10 years old. Well, I have questions here. Was it like around Christmas time, or, I mean, like, Could it have been a statue of some sort dressed as Santa? I have questions about that one. Deathly afraid of being at home alone as a kid. I was too, to the point of panic attack if it happened. When I would get really scared, I would speak a phrase not in English or any other language I know that would calm me down. I'm not sure where it came from. And it's spelled VEDUM with WHIZ, and then it says fanatic caca. I don't know what that means. I was 16 years old. There is a cemetery next to my neighborhood, and it never freaked me out. Sometimes Dad and I would take our telescope out there and stargaze. One night when I was 16, two of my friends and I were walking through the cemetery, looking at the statues and just hanging out, when suddenly I looked up and saw a door-shaped portal appear next to the road. I could barely get out of the words, "Guys, look, it's a door." Kind of reminds you of the stairs, doesn't it, that we were talking about earlier. Sure enough, it was a solid pitch black door next to the headstone. One of the two friends started walking towards it to check it out. I pulled him back by his collar, and we ran back to the car and headed home. I wonder if that has something to do with the stairways, because we talked about how it gives you this real urge to go towards it instead of away from it. In high school, me and my friends were hanging out at the beach in PCB, saw a flashing light out on the horizon, thought it was lightning at first. We flashed our flashlight at it, and it responded back. Flashed a couple of times, and then it shot up out of sight. To this day, I can't sleep with the closet door open. It must be closed at night. Don't know why. I'm the same, but I know why. I had something come out of my closet. In 2016, I was in the backyard stargazing after letting the dogs back inside. It was around 9:15 p.m. I looked up in the sky and saw a bright light about 15 to 20K feet up, moving pretty fast in a straight line. It was a solid light, no blinking either. It was moving from west to east very fast. Suddenly made a 90-degree turn north and hit warp speed. Didn't slow down at all, but a hard left 90 turn. Then within 2 minutes, I watched another solid bright light moving west to east very fast. Looked much higher in the sky, faded out of sight, back in sight, and then back out. Possibly could have been a satellite or the ISS. In 2006, Sean and I were sitting on the floor rolling a ball. He's 2 years old. I'm sitting on the floor with my back facing the front door. Sean all of a sudden starts to freak out, saying, "Lights, Daddy, look, bright lights." He was pointing directly behind me and scared to death. He jumped into my lap, and Cowie, our dog, was sitting next to us and was growling at something behind me. Slowly, I turned around and saw nothing. At the same house, we saw shadow figures and sleep paralysis for the first time. Tammy woke up and paralysis for the first time. Tammy woke up and saw a woman floating above her. Holy hell. Ugh. Jeez. Stayed at a haunted hotel. I did that too in Ohio. The Park Plaza. I don't remember. It was the Winter Carriage. Something. I don't remember mine. Stayed at a haunted hotel, the Park Plaza Hotel in Winter Park, Florida. Oh, I think that's near me. Stayed for a couple of nights there on business in Orlando. I heard footsteps in the hallway on the hardwood floors in my room. Felt something sit on my bed while I slept. In 2024, was asleep. While asleep, I dreamed, I think, that I was remotely viewing these two beings standing at a computer-like station. When they looked directly at me and said, "He can see us," I thought, "Shit," and woke up scared to death. They went on and they give us about 10 more. I'm actually going to save these for more. Yeah, feel free to email me and we can talk about it. I don't have any patches. My ex-mother-in-law asked me if I had any of those patches, and because she sends them to me. She sends me these little care packages, which is really nice, and I'm all out of them. I'm all out of them, and I don't really like cold. Like, I know you're supposed to alternate between cold and heat, but I can't really do that. But I can do like the lidocaine and stuff like that. It makes it feel cooler. I don't know. I don't know if that's all in my mind, but it makes it feel cooler, and I can do that. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Unless you want me to show you some of... Let me see what Shannon sent. I didn't even take a look at what Shannon sent. See what she sent. Just as for funsies. Oh, she's got an Appalachian too.
Mysterious noise in Appalachia was so loud it shook her house, and she got it all on video. Man, there's a lot of strange things out in Appalachia. A lot of beautiful things, a lot of good things, but a lot of creepy stuff. And this one's a little different. This one's not like the Bigfoot, ghosts, demons that I typically share. This lady came out on her porch in Appalachia because her house was shaking, and she heard a noise that she said was comparable to dragons. This is something that has happened all over the world, but no one really knows what it is. Now, some people say it's because of atmospheric pressure changes and things like that. I personally think it might be a little deeper than that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's spiritual. Maybe it's something otherworldly. Listen to this. Let me know what you think. And have you ever heard it?
I know I'm a little slow, but that's not an airplane. It's not a rocket. Maybe the dragons have been released. Somebody pissed off Godzilla. I don't know. What the hell is this? Whatever it is, it's shaking my house.
This is actually terrifying to me because I have been like deep in the Epstein files, and they're talking about they do have things that can control us through sound. Are they testing sound control in the Appalachian Mountains?
Somebody pissed off Godzilla. I don't know. What the hell is this? Whatever it is, it's shaking my house.
What do you guys think? This is all for entertainment and educational purposes only. We urge you to go out there and do your own research. Yeah. Yikes. Let's see what else she sent us.
Noticed their farm animals were panicking, but as they look at the camera,
It's the same one I sent.
they see this. A woman named Michelle and her husband Jonathan from Alabama explained that while in their home, located deep in the Appalachian Mountains in the northern part of Cumberland Plateau, they pulled
I
up
actually didn't realize this was Appalachian too.
their cameras after hearing the alarm going off and the sounds of their farm animals agitated when they noticed what looks like a pale man crawling toward their house.
I really think that's a rake. Let's see what else she sent.
To the house this morning. Girlfriend just came upstairs screaming, woke me out of bed, said that there's something on the roof, and I don't see it. She thinks one of them's up there somewhere. She just woke me up again and said she heard it on the roof, and this time so did I, so.
What the frick's on the door?
Okay. Oh.
Ew.
Holy all right. So it's one on the other side of the house.
Look at this guy's face.
Where'd it go? What is that? What the son of a...
Hola, buenas tardes. People are always like, oh my God, we got this like really nice plot of land and it's like alone. First of all, you're not really alone. Second of all, you got to remember that los spookies aren't locked out there with you. You're locked out there with them, mijo. So I'm going to just stay in a hotel when I come visit, okay? But anyway, Representative Latinos Against Spooky Shit. I don't know why you kept going on in the middle of the night. And I know people are going to be like, oh, pero y sus animales? What about his animals if he has any? Man, fuck the animals, okay? It's every chicken, deer, goat, horse by themselves. You know, and your wife kept sending you out there. I think she's got an insurance policy on you. Like, you should check into that. But my recommendation for this one, move out. You've got enough cars, you know. I edited the video a little bit, but in a couple shots, you can see that they've got...
It does seem like they come back to one spot if it is a dog man, because I was just, before this show started, I was over here on this channel watching this Isaac Cappy story. Oh, wait. No, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry, that's the wrong one. I was watching this other guy. I don't have it pulled up. I was watching this too, this Isaac Cappy story, which is like just blowing my mind, actually. But the other one was a Dogman story where this guy was playing basketball. He had met this woman and he was going to meet her at this park. And while he was waiting for her to come to the park, he met these guys playing basketball, and she stood him up, and he ended up playing basketball with the guys, and then they decided to walk to the liquor store and get a drink afterwards. And while they were walking to the liquor store, this dogman attacked them, and he thinks it was the woman that he had met and who had stood him up. So, yeah, reminds me of that. It really does. Yes, this is my email right here. Yeah, the chupacabra. I remember the chupacabra because back in the day when we were doing the Parawomen Radio, Shannon's sister, Beth, the chupacabra, was her favorite. Mine was the Bigfoot. I don't remember maybe the chupacabra was Shannon's too. And we did this thing where we interviewed people that ran the Mothman Festival or went to the Mothman Festival. So yeah, I love talking about cryptozoology. It's one of my more favorite things to talk about. Yep, we did an episode on the Cecil Hotel. We just did. Yep. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap things up. I do have some creator panels that I'm pulling together this week. I am going to be talking about the Epstein files, but I am going back to talking about hidden true crime. I have a issue with Dr. Yon, and I'm going to talk about psychology and psychologists, and should they really be on the internet offering their services when they are so-called doctors treating people. So we're going to take a look at that. We've got some Gypsy Rose Blanchard stuff we're going to be doing, and we also have some Sarah Boone. So that's what I got on tap. Look for probably a Building the Case tomorrow morning with me, or just a Hidden True Crime live that I do. I know I need to get caught up on all of that. I'm going to take a look at the Nancy Guthrie, and I'm going to look at it more like the conspiracy theory, because I think it's very strange. There's a lot of strangeness, and I just think it's a psyop to get us looking at the other way when all this stuff just dropped about them running the largest PDF ring in in the world. And don't just think that it's happening in the United States, my friend. We're just the ones that have our ass showing right now. I promise you, it's in every single country. So anyway, that's what we're doing. And thank you, Kim, so much for being here and being the best moderator. I would love to get to 10K for President's Day. So be sure to hit that subscribe and that thumbs up button. Thank you, Carolina, for hanging out and sharing your stories. Thank you, Latoya, for coming and catching a live. Thank you to everyone hanging out in the outer regions. It's so good to have you here with us. If you have a spooky, scary story that you would like us to share, feel free to email me, parawomanradio@gmail.com. It's going across the screen on the banner. Kim has it in chat, and it will be over in the YouTube show notes. And everything we view tonight will also be over in the YouTube show notes. So if nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you guys this. I love you guys so, so much. And hey, I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye.
Miss McHugh, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out.
With you tonight, and it feels fine. Feels fine. Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight. Here in the blue, I'm dancing and falling out, hoping for some time with you.